எடுங்க. of the land. Unity. We acknowledge and thank each on the 9. Gratitude to each of you. A round of applause to each of you for being here in this venue. Thank you. Ladies and the National, it is my great honor to welcome each. We gather one noble theme. Together here Thank you. Please be seated. Sorry for making all stand twice. Really apologize. I request Ms. Radhika, Executive Member of PATCA, to formally acknowledge the traditional owners of the land.
Thank you, Niku. I'm not as tall as him. Hopefully you can hear me.
Mike needs to adjust.
Advantage of the short term. You get all the attention. Okay. A fight against oppression and a strong voice for social justice has been always heard strong, loud and clear from this land which was never ceded. Periyar Thought Circle, PATCA, acknowledges the importance of truth-telling and started the process through Europe Justice Commission. PATCA celebrates and acknowledges the significance of the Australian First Treaty, a legislation to enshrine the democratically elected body of First People that has been passed by the Victorian Parliament on Friday, 31st of October. Despite all harm, the immense pride in the Aboriginal community and of the culture and the willingness for them to share is commendable. PATCA acknowledges the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners and custodians and pays respect to the past and present. We acknowledge and uphold the traditional owners of continuing relationship to the land and waterways. We acknowledge and honour the unbroken spiritual, cultural and political connection they have maintained to the unique place for more than 2,000 generations. We extend our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Island Strait Islander peoples. We accept the invitation in the Uluru Statement from the heart and are committed to work together to build a better future. Thank you.
It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the President of PATCA, Dr. Annamalai Malani. Dr. Malani was born in Salem, Tamil Nadu, India, into a family with rationalist values. His father, Tamil Maravar Pullavar Annamalai, joined the 1952 Black Flag protest against Chief Minister Rajaji's caste-based education policies in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Malani earned his bachelor's from Salem Government Arts College and his master's from Annamalai University. He worked for the Tamil Nadu Public Works Department and in private mining companies in India. Upon migrating to Australia in 1996, he worked in gold mines, completed his PhD at CSIRO and worked for major mining companies including Rio Tinto, and later consulted for Hancock Prospecting on in a demonstration of married during what is traditionally considered as well, who's with English and Italian. To work against all kind of discrimination and to propagate principles in his retired life. Ladies and gentlemen, of PATCA, Malani.
I would like to be traditional owners of the land today. Present in the Australia Perinalathin மரபு வழி உரிமையாளர்களின் உரிமை கொள்வதோடு of Tamil advancing the principles of Periyar and Ambedkar, humanism and social justice on a clear K.Veeramani, President of Drama, whose enduring guidance and moral courage inspire humanist movements worldwide. It is my indebted duty to acknowledge and welcome the President of and the Humanist Conference, Dr. Eira. And tireless capabilities continue to use and Dravidian voices equality across continents and have been instrumental in this and bound and extend their award to our distinguished Union Minister of India, a big Periyar, and the Honorable Manamal acknowledge bridge and principled stance against the far-right extremism and all the divisive influence of Australia's Senator Eira is to be recognized grassroots national solidarity for being the senator to move and pass a motion nation in with in the Federal Parliament of Australia for justice in Australia, for her courage in investigating Rajapaksa regime, despite being detained, arrested for her pursuit of truth in Sri Lanka in 2013. She stood for justice. The Tamil people salute you. Honorable former Eira, comrade, welcome. 2013 ஆண்டு ராஜபக்சவின் தமிழின படுகொலையை ஆராய்வதற்காக இலங்கைக்கு சென்ற பொழுது முன்னாள் செனட்டர் எயிரா அவர்களை ராஜபக்சேவின் அரசு கைது செய்தது. அதையும் எதிர்கொண்ட வீராங்கனை எயிரா அவர்களை நன்றி பாராட்டுகிறது. welcome to our Honorable Senator, she's not it, Michelle Anandaraja, Tamil Senator in Australia. This principled leadership, inclusion, equity, and the rise of and linguistic is within our parliament. Honorable Member of Parliament, Karina, advocacy for workers' rights, justice are formidable. Not attend today. Mithun will be. I am privileged to welcome K.Veeramani Award for Social Justice, Advocate General of Karnataka, India, Professor Ravi Verma Kumar. Welcome, sir. It gives me
immense joy and honor
to welcome all the luminaries,
academicians, scholars, and human rights advocates from Tamil Nadu, India, the United Kingdom, Singapore, Malaysia, and Japan, and all of you friends and comrades. We welcome you to the International Humanist Conference here in the vibrant multicultural heart of Melbourne. தந்தை பெரியார், பேரறிஞர் அண்ணா, முத்தமிழறிஞர் தலைவர் கலைஞர் ஆகியோரின் மண்ணாம் தாய் தமிழகத்திலிருந்து வந்திருக்கின்ற தோழர்கள் அனைவரையும் 4வது மனிதநேய மாநாட்டிற்கு வருக வருக என வரவேற்பதில் பெருமகிழ்ச்சியும் பேருவகையும் கொள்கின்றேன். I'm going to give a small history about PATCA. The Periyar Ambedkar Thought Circle of Australia, or PATCA, began humbly in 2017 as a small circle of concerned activists, alarmed by the rise of casteism, religious extremism, and inequality within our diaspora. We officially started functioning just 20 months ago. Now, PATCA has grown into a national organization recognized by governments, human rights bodies, and multicultural institutions across Australia. PATCA made over 30 submissions to the Australian Human Rights Commission, calling for caste discrimination to be recognized as a form of racism. By December 2022, the Human Rights Commission formally acknowledged caste oppression as racial discrimination a landmark in Australia's human rights discourse. The momentum did not stop there. Working through the Coalition Against Caste Discrimination, we made submissions to law reform processes in New South Wales and the Australian Capital Territory, affirming that the fight against caste is inseparable from the fight for human rights. In 2023 and 2024, PATCA was invited by the Australian Human Rights Commission to lead community consultations on caste discrimination. We also raised concerns in the New South Wales Parliament budget estimates during the government funding aligns with the principles of equity and inclusion. A landmark collaboration with Professor Selvaraj Velayudham of Macquarie University produced one of Australia's first empirical reports on caste discrimination submitted to the Australian Human Rights Commission in 2024. Perhaps our most defining moment came in August 2024 when PATCA and Tamil organizations across Australia opposed the public burning of Ravana effigies, a practice deeply offensive to Tamil Hindus and caste-oppressed communities. Legal complaints were filed in Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria, defending the dignity of diverse Hindu traditions and affirming that multiculturalism must never legitimized exclusion. By late 2024, the Queensland Human Rights Commission committed to working with PATCA to address the caste discrimination, and our executive member, Mr. Ponraj Thangamani, represented PATCA at the launch of the National Anti-Racism Framework in Sydney. In March 2025, PATCA hosted the historic visit of Tamil Talaivar K.Veeramani and Advocate Arulmozhi. Their journey across Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra and Melbourne reignited the global Dravidian spirit and cemented PATCA's role as a bridge between India's social reform heritage and Australia's multicultural future. Together, let us build an Australia and a world where no one is judged by caste, creed or birth, but by the content of their humanity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present the inaugural address to declare open the 4th International Humanist Conference, our beloved Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and the one and only Chief Minister in India with spine to stand up against religious chauvinism and authoritarianism. Our beloved Muthuvel Karunanidhi Stalin. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Chief Minister's recorded inaugural address is presented now. Thank you.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். ஆஸ்திரேலியாவில் செயல்பட்டு வர பெரியார் அம்பேத்கர் சிந்தனை வட்டம் அமைப்பு அவருடைய சார்பில் மெல்பர்ன் நகரத்தில் நடக்கிற இந்த உலக மனிதநேய மாநாடு 2025 தொடங்கி வைப்பது மிகுந்த மகிழ்ச்சி அளிக்கிறது. அதுவும் உலகம் போற்றும் ஆக்ஸ்போர்டில் தந்தை பெரியார் அவர்களின் உருவப்படம் திறக்கப்பட்டு அவருடைய சிந்தனைகள் இருக்க ஆங்கில நூலும் வெளியிடப்பட்ட அடுத்த சில மாதங்களில் இந்த மாநாடு நடப்பது பெரியார் உலகமயம் ஆகி வருகிறார் என்கிற நம் கருத்துக்கு மேலும் வலு சேர்க்கிறதா இருக்கு. தந்தை பெரியார் அவர்கள் தலைமையேற்று நடத்தின சுயமரியாதை இயக்கத்தின் நூற்றாண்டில் இந்த மாநாட்டை நடத்தி பெரியாரிய சிந்தனைகளை உறக்க சொல்லும் உங்கள் எல்லோருக்கும் பெரியாரின் மாணவனா என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்கள். மனிதநேயம் என்கிற அடித்தளத்தில் இருந்து தான் சுயமரியாதை உணர்வு பிறக்குது. அப்படிப்பட்ட சுயமரியாதை சூரியன்களால் இந்த மண்ணில் பலம் வந்து ஆதிக்க புரட்டுகிற பொசுக்கியவர்கள் தான் தந்தை பெரியாரும் உலக மாமேதை அண்ணன் அம்பேத்கர் அவர்கள். அவங்களுடைய சிந்தனைகளும் தத்துவங்களும் அடக்குமுறை எங்கெல்லாம் நிலவுதோ அங்கெல்லாம் புரட்சி செய்யக்கூடியவன்னு இந்த மாநாடு மெய்ப்பிக்கும்னு நம்புகிறேன். திராவிடர் கழக தலைவர் மாண்புமிகு ஆசிரியர் ஐயா அவர்களும் வழக்கறிஞர் அருமை சகோதரி அருள்மொழி அவர்களும் அண்மையில் ஆஸ்திரேலியாவுக்கு வருகை தந்து உரையாற்றியது புரட்சியாக இந்த மாநாட்டில் உலகெங்கும் இருந்து மனிதநேய செயல்பாட்டாளர்கள், சமத்துவ போராளிகள், கொள்கை வகுப்பாளர்கள் ஒன்று கூடுவது சமத்துவ சமூகத்தை நோக்கிய நம்ம பயணத்துக்கு வலு சேர்ப்பதாக அமையும். உங்கள் அமைப்பின் அயராத முயற்சிகளின் பயனாக ஆஸ்திரேலியா மனித உரிமை ஆணையம் சாதிய பாகுபாட்டை இனவெறியாக அங்கீகரித்திருப்பது நம்ம எல்லோருக்குமான வெற்றி. ஒருத்தரோட சாதியின் காரணமாக பணியிட புறக்கணிப்பு, சமூக தனிமைப்படுத்துதல், வீட்டு வசதி மறுப்பு போன்ற செயல்பாடுகளை ஆஸ்திரேலியாவிலையும் விதைக்க துடிக்கிற மேலாதிக்க சக்திகளோட சதியை தடுத்து நிறுத்துகிற முயற்சிகள் தொடர வேண்டும் என்று நான் விரும்புகிறேன். பெரியார் அம்பேத்கர் சிந்தனை வட்டம் தொடங்கப்பட்ட சில ஆண்டுகளிலேயே ஏராளமான நிகழ்ச்சிகளை நடத்தியும் ஆஸ்திரேலிய அரசுக்கு நிறைய அறிக்கைகளை சமர்ப்பிச்சும் தீவிரமாக செயல்பட்டு வருகிறேன். அதுக்காக பெரியார் இன்டர்நேஷனல் அமைப்பின் தலைவர் மருத்துவர் சோம இளங்கோவன், ஆஸ்திரேலியா பெரியார் அம்பேத்கர் சிந்தனை வட்டத்தின் தலைவர் டாக்டர் அண்ணாமலை மகிழன், துணைத் தலைவர் டாக்டர் முகமது ஹாரூன், செயலாளர் திருமிகு சுமதி விஜயகுமார், பொருளாளர் திருமலை நம்பி, மாநாட்டு ஒருங்கிணைப்பு தலைவர் திரு அரங்கமூர்த்தி ஆகியோருக்கு என்னோட பாராட்டுக்கள். தொடர்ந்து மேலும் பல புதிய வெற்றிகளுக்கு இந்த மாநாடு அடித்தளமிட என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்கள். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Once again, a big round of applause to Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Mr. M.K. Stalin, for his address. Especially amidst his busy schedule, he's taking this time to record a video for us here living in Australia. So thank you so much. I wish to express my gratitude to the Chief Minister. This event, I request we will be unveiling and also releasing the photo image as a mark of inauguration to this event, for which I invite Professor K.Veeramani, Chairperson, Social Justice Monitoring Committee, Government of Tamil Nadu, India, to inaugurate the photo image of Ambedkar. Ladies and gentlemen, I think a big round of applause is required. I think far more energy is required from the crowd here. I know it's Saturday morning, but let's just keep cheering and building the energy for people to come and do what they're meant to be doing. They come all the way from India to be amongst us. So your cheers will certainly enlighten and more the spirit of this room here today. Thank you. To unveil the plaque and photo image of Periyar, I invite Honorable Mr. Eira, Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, on the stage. May I also request Member of Parliament Salma to the stage. Thank you. Dignitaries, thank you so much for your time, for coming onto the stage. Thank you. And I specifically want to express my gratitude and also apologize for the late start this morning. Whilst we are trying to fix, I'm sure, a lot of logistics involved to facilitate an event of this scale, and therefore there was a lot of communication gap that we felt we could have plugged our gap. But having said that, this is day one, whatever mistakes that we made today, we can certainly fix it and ensure it does not repeat tomorrow. So once again, I wish to apologize for the delay this morning. Friends, Honorable Karina Garland, Federal Member for Chisholm, is unable to be here today. My good friend, she has another conflicting commitment, therefore she's unable to be here. But she sent her words and she wanted me to quote whatever she's written, and I'd like to read it today. She'd like to firstly congratulate on the fantastic event that PATCA has facilitated for the 4th International Humanist Conference. I'm sorry I could not join you today. I know this will be a special day to come together and discuss important issues and spend time with one another. Thank you to Murthy Rangaraju and the Organising Committee and the Executive of PATCA for facilitating this event, as well as for many other community group leaders who've ensured a smooth conference. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Racial Discrimination Act, an important milestone for multicultural Australia, and one that I believe connects well to the work undertaken by PATCA. The Racial Discrimination Act provides protections so that every person in our community, regardless of their ethnic background, the language they speak, or the country of origin, can live in an inclusive society, pursue their ambitions, and contribute to Australia. The electorate of Chisholm, which she is privileged to represent in the federal parliament, is a home to thousands of families who find the origins from all over the world, including in India and Sri Lanka. It is an honor and a privilege to meet with those from the multicultural communities in her electorate and at celebratory events and in the course of her work as a member of parliament. Prejudice and discrimination have no place in our communities, and please be assured that she will be always a voice to respect, inclusion, and dignity of all people. I'm sure the conference will be a great success. She does look forward to working with PATCA in the future, and her office is eager to assist anything that we always want. Thank you to all those who've been involved in facilitating this event. And I want to extend from the point what she's made in her remarks. At a time where the very social cohesion is under question here, we as members of the Tamil community have come together, and what makes us come together is the unity, the identity of one language, that is Tamil. So, when there's a threat to social cohesion, let us stay united behind the language and the identity that we all are proud of, which is to be a Tamilian. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May I now invite the executive member of PATCA, Radhika, to introduce our next guest who will be addressing us all today. Thank you.
When we think of Nerve of Steel, a warrior of the downtrodden, a committed leader, a politician is not someone who comes to our mind. But we have the privilege to have amongst us one such leader. His commitment to social justice is such that it gave him the energy to deliver the longest speech in the New South Wales Parliament. 2 minutes shy of 6 hours. He spoke for 6 hours against the New South Wales government's legislation that would affect the public sector wages. Like many human rights warriors here, he is also from the legal background. He is a barrister. His political career started in the local council in Woollahra, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, in 2004. And he entered the state politics in 2010. He has an illustrious career and a long list of achievements that actually talks profoundly about his commitment to social justice and human rights. But I'm going to mark one important speech that is very important for anyone from the Indian diaspora. His speech in March 2021 in the New South Wales Parliament addressing the threat posed by the far-right Hindu groups, which is of profound importance to PATCA and its work, and which we are still continuing. And his support till today is unwavered, and he's always been supportive of our work through various means and guidance and mentorship as well. And as a person, from a marginalised community as well as a minority community, his speech spoke to me. I felt heard, I felt my pain was visible to someone who is still not from my background, and thank you very much for that. He walks the talk, he belongs to the Greens, means there's no corporate donations accepted. So, which is profound difference to any major any party anywhere in the world which does not accept corporate donations, and it's run by people and commitment only. The main reason they do this is to actually keep the commitment to people and to be grounded as well. It gives a great pleasure, and it's an honour for me to introduce the Greens New South Wales Senator Honourable David Shoebridge. Please join me in giving a round of applause to invite for the first plenary speech of the conference.
Thank you very much for that generous welcome. I promise this will not be a 6-hour speech. I too want to acknowledge that we're on First Nations land. This is Aboriginal land, and I know it was mentioned earlier, but it bears repeating. Only less than 48 hours ago, treaty was finally accepted here in Victoria. After 2.5 centuries of invasion and oppression, theft of First Nations land, refusal to acknowledge First Nations people's legal, social, moral connection and sovereignty, this is the first time in Australia's history that there's been a formal treaty between a government and First Nations people. Let's not make it the last. Let's make a national treaty and national treaties, and let's make what happened in Victoria cover the country with justice. So let's acknowledge this land always was and always will be First Nations land. I do also want to congratulate everyone for being out here on a Saturday morning in Melbourne. This is an extraordinary gathering, the 4th International Humanist Conference. And to have it happening on Australian soil and to see so many distinguished colleagues come together to speak about the basic principles of equity, human rights and social justice. I've got to tell you, as a Greens senator who shares many of those political values, I think all those political values with you, it's a charge in the morning to see you come together for this conference. I do want to acknowledge my colleagues who have travelled all the way, my parliamentary colleagues who have travelled all the way from India to both the Honourable Eira and the Honourable Salma Rakia. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your political thoughts with us and building a global movement committed to those principles of social justice and human rights and equality. I also want to acknowledge my very dear friend and former Greens Senator Lee Rhiannon and her continuing advocacy for social justice and fight against caste oppression, and all of the distinguished guests that we have here today, from academia, from politics, and just from grassroots social activism, fighting for change and a better world. Those rights that form the core of PATCA, Periyar and Medgar Thought Circle, those basic rights of humanism, human rights and social justice, they so closely mirror the 4 basic founding principles of the global Greens movement. And I do also want to acknowledge my Greens colleagues and members who have come here as part of a show of solidarity and welcome again to the movement. Because the 4 Greens pillars of social justice, ecological sustainability, democracy, and peace and non-violence, for me, are fundamentally essential in this world at this moment. We're gathering together here in peace, in a peaceful part of the world, celebrating these principles, But we should acknowledge that as we gather together in peace, so many conflicts around the world, which are being driven by economic injustice, by greed, by exclusion, by intolerance, not least the appalling ongoing genocide in Gaza. But I think as well about the ongoing occupation in Kashmir and Jammu, the oppression of Tamil people in Tamil Eelam, the oppression of the Rohingya people in our near neighbourhood, the failure to acknowledge the rights and entitlements for the people of West Papua, only a few short kilometres from Australia's border. The world needs these principles now more than ever. And we need to unite around the principles, not based on exclusion and difference, but based upon our common humanity and the common need to work towards social justice and human rights. And I think what you're doing here today, and what the Chief Minister acknowledged in his speech, that we're shining a light. We're speaking of the core principles that are underpinned in PATCA. And what you're doing today is a part of a movement towards global justice. But it's also hard. I mean, it can be incredibly difficult and hard to challenge entrenched political power, to challenge what can be centuries of entitlement and structural oppression. And I got a little insight into those challenges when I worked with a good number of the colleagues in this room, and Haroon Kassim, I particularly want to acknowledge your ongoing advocacy and work. But I remember Haroon coming to me in 2020, and at the time I was a member of the New South Wales Parliament, the largest and most noble state in the country, a member of the New South Wales Parliament. And we've been working together with our Greens colleagues, our friends in the Ambedkar Association in New South Wales, groups like Hindus for Human Rights and others, and been finding the opportunity to raise our concerns about intolerance being taught in Australia's public schools. Australia's public schools are an extraordinary part of our country. Public schools are the place where, regardless of your religious background, regardless of how much wealth your family has, regardless of your parents' educational attainments, public schools are a place where every Australian child should come and feel safe and feel supported and have access to that incredible human opportunity of education, and they should be open and equal for all. And nobody should come to a public school and have taught in their classroom or in the adjoining classroom principles of intolerance and exclusion and oppression. That should never happen in a public school in this country. But Haroon and others had been raising with my office the fact that in public schools, in my home state of New South Wales, and tragically it happens in other parts of the country as well, intolerance was being preached, caste oppression was being preached, exclusion was being preached, and VHP, which has deep connections to Hinduvada ideology, had been in public schools actively teaching caste oppression, actively preaching caste oppression. And as a politician who fundamentally believes in equality, the principles we share, I raised it. And I raised it in the course of a parliamentary committee, and I asked our education minister, how are you permitting this extremist ideology to be taught in public schools? And what will you be doing to ensure that in public schools? And of course, there is an incredibly important place for religion to be taught, for whether it's Christianity, Hinduism, the Islamic faith. There is a place for students to learn about religion in public schools. Of course there is. But it can't be at the expense of oppressing fellow students. And that where there are extremist elements in a religion that actually oppress other peoples, there is no place for that in public schools. So when I asked the question, I got a kind of awkward response from the government. What then became apparent was there were so many structural voices and powers in place to shut down even the question. My office was barraged with attacks. I faced a motion to condemn my actions in the state parliament, and to the shame of the Labor Party, the Liberal Party and the National Party, they joined together to vote to condemn me for questioning it, to condemn me for asking how is it that intolerance and extremism is being taught in our public schools. And I recall that as that happened, as this wave of attacks came against myself and my staff, I recall getting an insight, a small insight into the work you all do. Into the work you do fighting structural oppression, the work you do for human rights, and the structures that you all face and are confronting in your daily life, in your professional struggles and in your political struggles. It was a small insight. We stood firm against that. And we knew that as politics moves, as the world moves, there is a kind of arc towards justice and decency in this world. And that the vicious attack that we faced in the short term was best met by holding the course, sticking with our friends, standing by principle. And I've got to tell you, in the 4.5 years since, I've seen the work that so many of you have done together, whether it's under the banner of the Coalition Against Caste Oppression, or it's in your individual work, to fight against that bias and to fight against that exclusion has been incredibly inspiring. I've seen the complaints that have been put forward to Multicultural New South Wales to demand that they don't fund and support caste oppression. And that's working. And it's working its way through the system. As the President noted in his address, we now have had, for the first time ever, a human rights complaint accepted by the Australian Human Rights Commission acknowledging that caste oppression is unlawful in this country, for the first time ever. And the New South Wales Department of Education is now facing a formal complaint, which they have to deal with under New South Wales anti-discrimination law, to ensure that they don't continue this practice and greenlight this practice in New South Wales schools. But what it has also confirmed for me is we need legislative reform. We need to change the laws, because our laws are being worked at, manipulated by good lawyers and good others to try and cover caste oppression, and I think in part they do. But why shouldn't there be a clear legislative prohibition against caste oppression in our state and federal laws? Of course there should, and we should be working towards that clear statement of equality and that clear statement against oppression. So I'll just finish with this. As all of us know, you walk around the streets of Melbourne. You go to my beautiful hometown of Sydney and you walk amongst the streets of Sydney and you see the diversity of communities in this country. And you can see what an incredible social movement multiculturalism is. Bringing people from all parts of the world, all religions, all faiths, all countries, and sharing core values. And the values we want to share are those values of human rights, of respect for others, of tolerance, of equality. I hope also ecological and environmental protection. Let's share those values and celebrate those values and celebrate them as part of a multicultural country. But multiculturalism must never be used as a shield to endorse or permit exclusion or oppression. And we can't permit it to be used as a shield to endorse oppression and exclusion. because we can't tolerate the intolerant. That's not how multiculturalism works. We call it out. We call it out and we work together to stop it. So it's, an enormous privilege to be here to deliver the first political speech, I suppose, address at this 4th International Humanist Conference. And let's make sure that we go from here and we work together across politics, across society, across academia, in our business world. Let's work on those core values, and let's unite under the banner of humanism, human rights and social justice. Thanks very much.
Senator Schubert, thank you so much for your wonderful address this morning and for also enlightening our audience. May I now request Mr. Nandakumar, who is the official interpreter for the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, to translate his speech in English. Thank you.
So it gives me immense pleasure to inaugurate the International Humanism Conference 2025, organized by the Periyar Thought Circle of Australia in the city of Melbourne. It is indeed a matter of great pride that this conference is being held only a few months after the unveiling of the portrait of Thandai Periyar at the globally renowned Oxford University and the release of a book on his thoughts in English. This clearly reinforces our belief that Periyar's ideas are gaining global recognition. At the dawn of the centenary of the self-respect movement led by Periyar, this conference stands as a remarkable tribute to his philosophy. As a disciple of Periyar, I extend my heartfelt greetings to all of you who have worked tirelessly to organize this event and to spread the ideas of Periyar across the world. Humanism is the foundation from which the spirit of self-respect arises. It was great visionaries like Thandai Periyar and Dr. Ambedkar who, as radiant sons of self-respect, dispelled the darkness of dominance and oppression in our society. Their philosophies and thoughts continue to be revolutionary forces wherever inequality and injustice prevail. I firmly believe that this conference will once again affirm that truth. I also wish to acknowledge the continued inspiration provided by Thiru Asiriyar K.Veeramani, President of the Dravidar Kalagam, and Sister Advocate Arunmali, whose recent visits to Australia and enlightening speeches have paved the way for today's gathering. This conference, bringing together humanists, equality activists, and policy thinkers from across the world, will undoubtedly strengthen our journey towards building a just and egalitarian society. It is indeed a proud moment that as a result of your persistent efforts, the Australian Human Rights Commission has officially recognized caste-based discrimination as a form of racial discrimination. This is a victory for all of us. Your work to prevent caste-based exclusion, whether in workplaces, housing, or social exclusion, represents the continued struggle against the conspiracies of oppressive powers that seek to sow the seeds of inequality even in Australia. I urge you to continue this vital mission with renewed determination. Within few years of inception, this Periyar Ambedkar Thought Circle of Australia has conducted numerous events, submitted detailed reports to the Australian government, and worked with great dedication. For that, I extend my sincere appreciation to Dr. Soma Ilangovan, the President of Periyar International, Dr. Annamalai Mahilnan, the President of Periyar Ambedkar Thought Circle of Australia, Dr. Mohammed Harun, Vice President of PATCA, Mrs. Sumati Vijaykumar, Secretary of PATCA, Mr. Thirumalai Nambi, Treasurer of PATCA, Mr. Arangamurthy, this conference convener. My congratulations to all of you. May this World Humanist Conference 2025 serve as a foundation for many more achievements in the years to come. Thank you all.
Thank you to the official translator for sharing Honorable Chief Minister's remarks to all of us here today. I wish to now introduce another very important personality who's been part of this movement, who's been leading this movement for a very long time, which is, he'll be sharing his message virtually, and I'd like to first introduce him formally. Asriyar Dr. K.Veeramani, President of Dravida Kalagam. Asriyar Dr. K.Veeramani is a distinguished social reformer, humanist and rationalist leader who serves as the president of the Dravida Kalagam. The movement founded by Tandai Periyar E.V. Ramasamy, Asriyar Dr. Veeramani is a 92-year-old leader who joined the self-respect movement at an early age of 9 and dedicated his entire life to the cause of social justice, rationalism and equality. A close associate and disciple of Tandai Periyar, Dr. Veeramani has been instrumental in continuing Periyar's legacy through active leadership, public education and institution building. Under his stewardship, DKA has expanded its advocacy for caste abolition, gender equality, secularism and scientific temper in India and abroad. Eloquent orator and a prolific writer, Dr. Veeramani has authored numerous books and articles in rationalism, Tamil culture and social reform. He is the editor for Vidudalai, official daily of Dravida Kalagam, promoting progressive thought and critical inquiry for 69 years, and the longest serving newspaper editors in India. In recognition of this lifelong contribution, Dr. Veeramani has received several national and international honors. His leadership continues to inspire movements for equality and human rights across generations. Asriyar could not attend this conference in person due to his recent ear surgery, and therefore now we are playing his recorded video speech for you all. Thank you.
Hearty greetings to our honored guests and distinguished personalities who are able to squeeze the time to be to this and participate in the 4th International Humanist Conference. The theme of this conference is very, very timely and very apt. Humanism, self-respect, social cohesion. Very, very important from the humanist angle. My dear brothers and sisters and dignitaries who were able to give their valuable time to us, Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, through M.K. Stalin, and PATCA President Dr. Annamalai Mahiran, Secretary Sumati Vijayakumar, Conference Organizing Committee Chairman Arangamurthy, Honorable Federal MP from Krishnom Dr. Karina Garland, Honorable Senator David Shoebridge, Mr. John Perkins, Atheist Societies of Australia, and Mary Ann Gargrove, CEO of the Humanist Australia, and Periyar International President Dr. Soma Edagovan, and our dignitaries from India, particularly in Tamil Nadu and other states, DK Treasurer Thiru Kumaresan, our most best parliamentarians, A. Raja MP, Quiet Salma, and Professor K.Veeramani, and writer Ovia, Advocate Arulmozhi, legal luminary Ravi Varma Kumar, and the dignitaries on the dais and the off the dais and delegates from various countries. We are very pleased to welcome you in the sense I am part and parcel of this considered conference. The subject they have chosen, the theme they have chosen is humanism, self-respect and social cohesion. The fourth conference is very, very important in the sense nowadays there are challenges for these themes. Humanism is being challenged. Self-respect is being distorted, and social cohesion is the need of our, not only for a particular country or a particular society, for all human beings. Our participation in this conference is very, very important. That is why the delegates from Tamil Nadu and other countries are participating, and I welcome and offer our greetings from the land of Periyar, the land of self-respect and land of social cohesion and humanism. The theme is very important. The self-respect movement was started in the year 1925, and the PATCA, the name of this organization who are organizing here in local in this country is Periyar Ambedkar Thoughts Circle Association. What is the need for that in the country, in Australia? First of all, the Australia is a country which respects humanism. Not only it respects humanism, but also observes it, and also the self-respect of the people and the social cohesion that we see in this country is very emulative and exemplary. I had the opportunity this year to participate in many conferences here, and the government of, we will have to appreciate and applaud the government of Australia. The people who respect human dignity and human values, they always remember and very apologetic for the people who are aborigines in this country. The aborigines were able to give many contributions to this country originally. They are being not only honored, but also they were giving a very important place in the government of Australia by all functions. So, the very national anthem itself is one of the evidence for that. So also the social cohesion in humanism is to be respected. The PATCA is needed in Australia. Why? Because in our country, the worst system, the anti-social position is caste. And the caste divides, social position invites. For that, the self-respect is the basic thing that order to think, why should we be slaves? And why should we have outdated methods to accept the domination of the few with the enslavement of the many? This problem was there, that is why the self-respect movement was born and created by our late lamented Periyar. And Periyar's ideology was welcomed by Dr. Ambedkar, and they were both sides of the same coin. And for this wider audience as well as this audience, we would like to point out what is the caste system in India. The Indian caste system is one which is very discriminating. To put it very short, it is anti-human. How it is anti-human? Because it dehumanizes the caste system, the Varnashrama system, which is the basis for inequality, dehumanized most of the people who are the tillers of the soil and dryers of the water and the people. Why? How it is there to discriminate like that, the caste system? The difference between the inequality and the caste system is, inequality may be equalized, but caste system cannot be done, because the human beings in our country, to understand that one, because it is very difficult for our foreign friends, particularly Australians and others, to understand the system of caste. And caste discriminates not only, as I said earlier, the caste dehumanizes. They never recognize. Humanization of the human beings is done by our movement. That is the very work of Tandai Periyar and Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar. That is why the society is named after them. To bring equality and equal opportunity and self-respect. Women were not given due, because in the system of inequality, not only inequality, but also it is a special kind of inequality. That is the graded inequality. In this graded inequality, there cannot be one level. Inequality versus graded inequality is being distributed by one thing. There is one person above, another below, then under, then another, like this. They were not opposite to group, equal, unequal. That is not the equation. That is why to understand that system is very difficult for a foreigner, for any country. That system is not in our country. We are happy. Our people have come, and immigrants were welcomed, and when after have come, they are all human approach. Always you respect the human beings without any creed, without anything, provided they happen to be good citizens of Australia. This is very much to be appreciated and applauded. But some of the elements here also, they want to bring the same kind of discrimination in a different form, even in the school syllabus, to teach the tiny thoughts, this kind of thought, under the garb of culturalization. The culture is very different. The culture is not human culture. That is why the PATCA took that issue, and you are able to respond it, and you are able to not only respond it, but also you have become a very nice thing. That is why we are here to thank and appreciate and mourn that system of discrimination will not only be imported, but it may appear. Some people say, no, it is in India, why you are bringing all these things? That is not the case. The COVID may be from any one particular country, but since the infection is spread all over the world, we will have to take the necessary action and seek the remedy. That is why this movement, this conference is very timely and appreciated. My dear comrades and brothers, with all our vanakkams, we appreciate, be guarded always. Eternal vigilance is very important. The philosophy of Periyar made them, they were denying opportunity of education, they were discrimination in employment, all those things, the caste ensures. The inevitable evil consequences of the caste system, the Varna system, if it is imported here and practiced here and indoctrinated to the younger generation, even this society may be affected and aggrieved. That is why the importance of this conference, the theme is humanism, self-respect and social cohesion. Australia is known for its wonderful social cohesion. This may spoil this. That is why the remedy, the medicine is already found out by our leader Periyar, the self-respect movement 100 years ago. The effective medicine has been very drastic in giving them a healthy way of life. That is why we are able to see our ultimate chief minister who forms the government, because they are all self-respected. They are all humanists. They all base insist on the social cohesion. No place for discrimination or degradation. That is why this conference assumes very important and historical. That is why it is better, prevention is better than cure. That is why this conference is more or less a preventive conference, so that the social evils and social diseases should not spoil the entire beautiful atmosphere and healthy life of humanism in Australia. Thank you very much. I wish them all the success and greetings to everybody, particularly from all the delegates. Kindly come to the good decision and safeguard our society at large. Yadum Ure, Yavum Kelir is the philosophy of our Dravidian model. Yadum Ure, everything is our place, and we are not a parochialist, or this is not a sectarian philosophy. This is a vast human embracing philosophy, self-respect philosophy. That is why humanism, self-respect and social cohesion is to be strengthened in every move of them. Thank you very much. I wish this conference useful and all success.
A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Dr. K.Veeramani for his enlightening address that he shared with us virtually this morning. We're almost at the end of the inaugural session. We will be now breaking up for morning tea. And before we do break up for morning tea, I request each of you all to please facilitate and help us facilitate this in an orderly manner. We will go table by table, and we will ensure that we can come back to our assigned seats right after you pick up your morning tea. And it's been an absolute pleasure for hosting this inaugural session. This is your host, Mithun Rajan, General Secretary of the Australian Tamil Chamber of Commerce, signing out from you all. Have a wonderful morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.